Imagine a repeating loop, a cycle that traps individuals, strains communities, and costs society deeply. It's a cycle many who have been incarcerated unfortunately find themselves in, the cycle of reoffending. We call this phenomenon recidivism. It's a stark reality in our criminal justice system. A person is convicted, serves time, and then, despite hopes for a fresh start, commits another crime. This isn't just a statistic, it's a critical challenge, one that affects public safety, drains resources, and leaves devastating social consequences for individuals, for their families, and for entire communities. But what if we could break that loop? What if we understood the true levers for change? Today, we're embarking on an essential journey into Corrections 101. We're going to explore what actually works, what the evidence tells us, and what strategies genuinely reduce recidivism. This isn't about quick fixes or wishful thinking. It's about understanding the science, the practical steps, and the human elements involved in helping individuals not just avoid reoffending, but truly build new, productive lives. At its heart, reducing recidivism is about understanding why people reoffend and then proactively addressing those root causes. This approach is built upon a few foundational concepts that act like the bedrock of effective correctional strategies. First, let's talk about what we call criminogenic needs and risk factors. Think of these as dynamic, changeable characteristics that are scientifically linked to criminal behavior. They're not static judgments about a person. They're specific areas where intervention can make a real difference. For instance, things like antisocial attitudes, ways of thinking that justify criminal behavior, or persistent substance abuse issues, severe family problems, a lack of educational or vocational achievement, or even a lack of healthy ways to spend leisure time. These are the practical, tangible targets that effective programs aim to address. Now, to guide these interventions, the field relies heavily on an evidence-based framework known as the Risk-Need-Responsivity, or RNR model. This model is like a compass for correctional efforts, ensuring that programs are tailored and impactful. Let's break it down. The risk principle tells us that the intensity of an intervention should always match an individual's risk of reoffending. This might sound counterintuitive, but research shows that moderate to high-risk individuals benefit most from intensive interventions. Conversely, trying to apply those same intensive programs to low-risk individuals can actually be counterproductive, sometimes even increasing their likelihood of reoffending by inadvertently exposing them to higher-risk populations. Then there's the need principle. This emphasizes that programs absolutely must target those specific criminogenic needs we just discussed, those characteristics directly linked to criminal behavior. It's about focusing resources where they will have the most direct impact on changing behavior. Finally, and crucially, is the responsivity principle. This one reminds us that interventions must be delivered in a manner consistent with an individual's unique learning style, their motivation levels, their abilities, and their demographic characteristics. A one-size-fits-all approach rarely works. This is where approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, often shine. CBT helps individuals identify and change problematic thought patterns and behaviors, teaching them new coping skills and ways of thinking that support a pro-social life. When we talk about effective programs, we're referring to evidence-based programming. These aren't just good ideas. They are rigorously researched and scientifically proven to be effective in reducing recidivism. This commitment to evidence means we're not guessing. We're using what we know works.
So, how do these concepts translate into real-world strategies? A massive part of reducing recidivism lies in comprehensive reentry planning and support. Imagine someone stepping out of prison after years away. They need more than just a bus ticket home. They need a roadmap, resources, and a support system to successfully reintegrate into the community. Detailing specific interventions. This often starts with education and vocational training. Equipping individuals with marketable skills, helping them earn a high school diploma, or pursuing post-secondary education significantly lowers reoffending rates. Education empowers, opens doors, and provides legitimate pathways to success. Hand in hand with this are robust employment services. This means job training, placement assistance, and ongoing support to maintain stable employment. A stable job provides financial security, a sense of purpose, and a positive daily structure. Many individuals entering the criminal justice system struggle with mental health and substance abuse treatment. Programs like the Residential Drug Abuse Program, or RDAP, and Medication-Assisted Treatment, or MAT, are vital. Addressing these underlying issues isn't just about healthcare. It's about removing significant barriers to stable, crime-free living. Fundamental to any successful reentry is access to housing and basic needs. Without a stable roof over their head, reliable transportation, food, and other essential resources, all other efforts can crumble. These are the basic building blocks of a new life. Social support and family ties play an incredibly powerful role. Maintaining positive family relationships during incarceration and having supportive networks post-release are consistently linked to reduce recidivism. no one thrives in isolation. And often overlooked, yet critically important, is simply obtaining identification. Access to government-issued ID is a gateway to everything else, securing employment, housing, and essential services. Without it, the simplest tasks become insurmountable obstacles. These efforts aren't undertaken by a single entity. They require a collaborative ecosystem of key stakeholders. We see government agencies like the Federal Bureau of Prisons or state correctional systems implementing reforms and educational initiatives. Research institutions and consulting firms constantly work to identify best practices, like the University of Cincinnati's work or that of the Vera Institute of Justice. And a powerful force comes from dedicated nonprofit organizations, groups like Stand Together, Free World, or the Frederick Douglass Project, which provide direct services and advocacy. Even private companies contribute, managing facilities and implementing programs based on this crucial research. It truly takes a village to foster real change. Now, while the path toward reducing recidivism is becoming clearer, it's not without its bumps and debates. There are significant challenges and ongoing discussions that shape the landscape of corrections. One major hurdle is the inconsistent measurement of recidivism itself. What constitutes reoffending? Is it a rearrest, a reconviction, or a reincarceration? Do we include parole violations, and over what time frame? These inconsistencies make it incredibly difficult to compare programs, states, or even track progress accurately. It's like trying to compare apples and oranges when everyone is using a different definition of fruit. There's also mixed evidence surrounding the effectiveness of what we call leverage-based interventions. These are approaches that use legal leverage, like mental health courts or specialty probation, to promote treatment adherence. While the intent is good, some research suggests these might not significantly reduce recidivism, and could even increase coercive interactions rather than foster genuine intrinsic motivation for change.
The enduring punishment versus rehabilitation debate continues to simmer beneath the surface. For generations, the focus was primarily on punishment. However, evidence is increasingly pointing towards reform-oriented, rehabilitative, and supportive approaches as more sustainable and effective for reducing reoffending in the long run. Programming is applied to low-risk individuals. It can be counterproductive, potentially increasing their reoffending likelihood by exposing them to higher-risk populations or criminal thinking. Then there are the very real program evaluation and funding challenges. Rigorous, unbiased evaluations of correctional programs are expensive and time-consuming. Budget limitations often impede this crucial work, making it tough to definitively prove what works and to replicate successful models widely. Many states also lack comprehensive statewide initiatives, complicating data analysis and hindering broader impact. Acknowledging external factors. It's also important to remember that the impact of correctional interventions can be influenced by factors beyond interventions themselves. Changes in the inmate population's composition, things like shifts in age, sex, or criminal history, can also affect overall recidivism rates, making direct comparisons even more complex. With a balanced factual approach, the role of private prisons also sparks considerable debate. Historically, the Department of Justice has shifted its stance on their use by the Federal Bureau of Prisons, reflecting ongoing questions about their efficacy, ethics, and their impact on rehabilitation efforts, and consequently on recidivism rates. It's a complex issue with strong arguments on both sides regarding cost, quality of care, and accountability. Finally, some critics argue that while many programs aim to reduce recidivism, some yield only marginal versus significant effects. They suggest that rather than focusing on small incremental gains from individual programs, we need a broader, more holistic approach that addresses multiple contributing factors simultaneously and comprehensively. This speaks to the need for truly integrated strategies. Shifting to a more optimistic, forward-looking tone. Despite these complexities and ongoing debates, the field of corrections is demonstrably moving in a positive direction. There's an undeniable shift towards an increasingly evidence-based and data-driven approach. The consistent emphasis on the R&R model, the meticulous development of comprehensive reentry planning, and the growing demand for rigorous program evaluation all signal a profound commitment to refining our strategies. Highlighting collaboration. The involvement of such diverse stakeholders, from government agencies and respected research institutions to the tireless work of nonprofit organizations and even private sector partners, underscores a collective, collaborative effort. This broad coalition is working together to overcome stubborn challenges like inconsistent measurement and persistent resource limitations. Concluding with an encouraging message, the ongoing shift from purely punitive measures towards truly rehabilitative and supportive interventions offers a hopeful vision. It suggests a future focused on more sustainable solutions for reducing recidivism, and more importantly, for fostering successful, meaningful reintegration into society. This isn't just about breaking a cycle, it's about building new, stronger foundations for individuals and for our communities. And that truly is progress worth investing in.